Well, don't blame me for not loving you. I was doing my duty. Blame yourself if I don't love you, okay? When I'm in love with a woman, that's her fault. So what happens if I'm not in love with a woman? Is that just my fault? Her to feel special all the time. If I'm in love with a woman, I think that is her fault.
Michael T. recently mentioned how being on Sister Wives totally transformed Kody into a completely different person. And, of course, she's still processing that. You can't just wake up one day and accept that someone you once had positive feelings for has become a full-on monster. It takes time to unpack that and that he's changed, or it's external forces affecting him. Part of the process is just part of the deal. Janelle's been going through the same thing. When asked to describe Kody, she said he's charismatic, which, was part of the reason she was drawn to him decades ago. Funny how that charisma has turned into something else entirely. It's not just a sister wives thing either. I'm going through a similar experience with my own dad, and it absolutely rocks your perception of everything you thought you knew about how the world works. It's like the rug gets pulled out from under you, and suddenly your whole reality feels like an illusion. You start looking back, trying to process the new reality, but it's hard to figure out where the truth ends and the lies begin. They blur together, and it's impossible to separate the two. Both are constantly shifting, changing, and warping in ways that don't make sense. And Kody? Well, he's become a whole different person. His bitterness and anger have taken over. Sure, he's always been an ass, but now it's like a different, darker flavor of ass. He's gone down some deep, ugly rabbit hole, and it shows. The look in his eyes, it's completely different now. Maybe the show caused some of it, maybe it didn't, but honestly, I don't think it helped. Kody's always had that energy of the evil theater kid, always on, always trying to steal the spotlight. So it's not a huge surprise that he's turned into this unrecognizable version of himself. But what's shocking is how quickly Michael T. seems to have shifted her view of him. Did she just start watching the show recently? Because it feels like one day she was riding the Kody train, and the next, she's off. I know there was something at Garrison's funeral, so maybe that was the turning point. Still, it feels like she held out way longer than the others. There's no denying that Sister Wives played a role in Kody's transformation. But it's also clear that he's never been great at handling criticism, and with the fans constantly tearing him apart, he's just dug in his heels, deciding to only care about Robyn's happiness. But honestly, he's always been inconsiderate. Who can blame him for not having the patience for 18 kids? I hope the kids can find as much peace as possible in all this. Honestly, reading Michael T.'s interview hit a nerve for me. It's so similar to my own relationship with my ex-husband. As long as I was fully dependent on him, everything was great. But as soon as I started healing and becoming more independent, it was like he turned into a completely different person. The lies, manipulation, and rage, it was like a switch flipped. Hearing Michael T. describe her experience makes me feel a little better, like maybe I wasn't totally blind to it after all. Narcissists are so dangerous, and it's often hard to spot them, especially when you're young or naive. So yeah, watching Kody's descent and hearing Michael T. talk about it is a little triggering, but it's also validating in a strange way. Sometimes you need to hear someone else's story to understand your own. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel reality Nexus X. TLC really thought we'd all be glued to the mess that is the Baldwins. Well, newsflash, we're not. Seriously, can't we just skip this disaster and get to the second half of Sister Wives season 19 already? I'd rather watch Kody and Robyn pretend to flirt than suffer through this cringe fest. I tried to watch the first episode, and wow. It might be the most painfully boring reality show I've ever seen. Not only was it a snooze fest, but it was insulting. Why would anyone want to watch these people and get paid for it? The whole thing just screams, look at us acting like we're important. And Alec Baldwin. Yeah, no thanks. I'll pass on giving any more attention to Father of the Year Alec. I'll never forget him calling his 12-year-old daughter a rude, thoughtless little pig. Class act, huh? Then there's Hilaria. Her Spanish accent is as inconsistent as her emotional stability. One minute it's there, the next it's gone. She can't handle a single thing being out of place. Alec and Hilaria exchanged anniversary gifts, and it was like she was just dying for him to cry over her culturally appropriated gift. Spoiler, he didn't care at all. This whole show is a last-ditch attempt to redeem Alec after Rust. But sorry, I'm not going to contribute to that. I bet they pitched it everywhere and TLC was the only network desperate enough to bite. I already waste enough time watching reality TV, and this train wreck is not going to be one of them. Where do we even start with Michael T here? Telling Robyn first about her pregnancy. Classic move. It's like a slap in the face to Christine, but hey, why not rub salt in the wound while you're at it? Even if Christine and Robyn were on great terms, the whole thing just screams disrespect. But given the current family dynamics, it's honestly extra rude for Michael T to choose Robyn over her own mother. And then, of course, she had to announce it on TV. Oh, by the way, I told Robyn first. What a totally unnecessary, petty little detail to throw in there. It didn't add anything to the conversation other than a little extra sting. But oh, Christine? She handled it with grace, because of course she did. Meanwhile, Michael T clearly just wanted to stir the pot. It's like Kody announcing he picked Robyn's wedding dress. It's bad enough it happened, but making a point of flaunting it. Seriously. And then there's Michael T's behavior in general. She really is her father's daughter. Ha! A little chip off the old block. It's like she's morphing into him, right? Just look at her twin sister, Gwen. That whole excuse for not attending Christine's wedding. Total nonsense. Michael T casually mentions that Gwen didn't show up because Christine was upset, but we know Gwen didn't explain herself until days later. It's all so obviously choreographed. I'm guessing Christine knew exactly what was going on and was covering for Gwen because of all the backlash. And let's be real, I'm not about to throw money at anyone's Patreon account, especially not Michael T, Payton, or Gwen at this point. Their personalities aren't exactly winning any awards. Michael T, in particular, is coming off as a drama queen. And why? Oh, because she's trying to pitch herself and her husband for a paid spot on the network. I wouldn't be surprised if this whole Robyn first thing was just a well-crafted storyline to stir up drama and get more airtime. I mean, it's all a bit of a joke, isn't it? We're all watching a reality show, assuming that what we're seeing is real. But they've been doing this for over a decade now. These people know exactly how this works. They have a whole team behind them, feeding them ideas and helping them create content. Nothing is as real as they want us to believe. So, yeah, I really hope Michael T and her creepy husband don't get hired. They're just repulsive at this point. But the real kicker? Telling Christine she told Robyn first. That's the real gut punch. She could have kept it to herself, but no, had to put that on national TV. Why? Just to stir the pot, I guess. It's all for the drama. Did Kody really just say, so my boys could get their pencil wet? Of course he did, because he's never one to miss an opportunity to degrade women or insult Janelle's and Christine's sons. It's honestly gross. And don't even get me started on how he trashes his son's choices in girlfriends. I mean, my mother-in-law pulled that crap on me once, and let me tell you, you never forget when someone says that kind of thing. It sticks with you. It sucks. But here's the kicker. Kody barely acknowledges the damage he's caused. A minute later, he tosses out a weak, "I'm sorry, boys," and calls it a day. That's it. What a joke. If I were his kid, I'd be out the door so fast. No way would I want to deal with that. Garrison might forgive him though, but that's just because he doesn't care enough to hold a grudge. Gabe, on the other hand, has been deeply hurt by this guy. And the fact that all Kody can muster is a half-hearted apology to the camera, when he won't even pick up the phone and call his sons because they need to come to him. That's next-level narcissism. It's unreal. I've said it before, but here's my theory. Kody wanted Janelle to kick Gabe and Garrison out so he could have some private time with her. Presumably, to get his pencil wet. Guess Robyn's sharpener wasn't doing it for him anymore. Honestly, the whole thing felt disturbing, but what really made my skin crawl was when Kody looked directly into the camera to address Gabe and Garrison. It wasn't just the kids he was staring at. It felt like he was looking straight at me. And as if that's not bad enough, imagine being the parents of the girls Garrison and Gabe are dating. I'd be furious. Kody disrespects not just his sons, but their girlfriends too. And let's not forget, this is coming from the guy who somehow thinks it's perfectly fine to juggle 4 wives. My sons are about the same age as Gabe and Hunter, and during coronavirus, they had to move back in with us. We had to juggle their social leaves and keep them safe, just like Janelle did with her boys. But Kody, he was too busy letting Robyn pull the strings while Janelle threw her hands up and set her own rules. It's all so messed up. Rewatching Sister Wives and wow, so much to unpack this time around. I'm currently on Season 3, Episode 15, and let me just say, there's a lot I missed or conveniently forgot the first time. Here are a few things that are definitely standing out now. Kody taking his teen daughters to watch Robyn's kids while they were dating. Seriously, who thought that was a good idea? Not only is that weird, it's like, hey, let's let my daughters get a front row seat to the romantic drama. Totally healthy. It's honestly like they were just testing how awkward they could make it. Robyn's unsolicited advice on what the teens should or shouldn't do, like, why is she so obsessed with having an opinion on everything? It's like the new stepmom coming in, all, let me tell you how it is, but like, the teens are old enough to make decisions themselves. And yet, she just can't stop herself. Classic I'm in charge now move. The infamous Vegas move, I still don't get it. There was no real threat in Utah, right? So, why the urgency to pack up and move to Vegas without jobs, plans, or even a vague sense of what was happening? And they claimed they only had, like, 3 days of notice. I mean, sure, it's not like they had anything better to do, right? Meri's transformation. I forgot just how much Meri used to actually have a personality in the earlier seasons. Watching her now, it's like she's slowly turned into a ghost of herself. It's kind of sad, but also, what happened to her? Christine mentally checking out. Honestly, it feels like Christine's been packing her emotional bags since they moved to Vegas. And I definitely think once she got her own place, that was her I'm done moment. Independence looks good on her, honestly. Also, Isabel's surgery. Yeah, that was the final straw. She realized she could do this on her own because, surprise, surprise, she already had been doing it all along. Christine's sayonara, Kody moment, I honestly think that was the turning point for her. When she realized Kody couldn't even be bothered to be there for Isabel's surgery. I mean, really, what good is he at that point? It wasn't just that moment, though. She'd probably rationalized his absence before, oh, he's busy with the other wives. That's just what happens in a big polygamous family. But once she realized he wouldn't show up for the really important stuff, that was it. Kody became irrelevant. It's like she had a full-on epiphany and was like, yeah, I don't need you, bro. Robyn's polygamy expert moment. And let's not forget Robyn, who somehow has become the resident expert on polygamy, despite being new to it. She's never lived with the other wives, has no clue what the daily grind of polygamy is like, and yet she's out here explaining the rules to everyone like she's been in it for years. Newsflash, lady, you're the new wife, not the wisdom of the ages. Plus, let's not overlook how she's basically been living a monogamous life with Kody the entire time. Of course, it all makes sense to her, he's always there for her, but for everyone else, not so much. Christine's departure. Of course, Robyn can't wrap her head around Christine leaving. To Robyn, Kody's perfect, because in her little monogamous bubble, everything works out just fine. But for the other wives, yeah, not so much. Robyn. Did she ever think she'd be this disliked? Watching earlier seasons, it's wild to see how she used to think she was the absolute best. She was sure she had it all. The best looks, the thinnest waist, the sharpest wit, the whole package. Fast forward a few years and, well, now she's a whiny, unpleasant, baby-wanting mess who seems to be the least popular person on reality TV. But hey, she probably didn't care. She probably saw herself as the hot young wife, the one that got the show rolling. Let's be real, she probably thought she was the reason the cameras were even there. In her head, she was the star. The whole show revolved around her. They owe her everything. How dare anyone not see that? Take the first season, for example. There she was on the couch, and yes, I'm paraphrasing here, whining about how she deserved more of Kody's time, even before they were married. Why? Well, because her life was just so upended when she moved with her kids, and she thought she deserved more grace, more attention, more everything. Meri, without missing a beat, called her out, saying everyone's life had been upended, not just hers. Everyone's kids were struggling too. And Robyn, she looked ready to throw a punch at Meri. That's the real Robyn, folks. Zero empathy, all about her. It's her world, and everyone else is just an extra in the background. Honestly, I don't think Robyn cares how people see her. She still gets paid either way, right? And then there's Kody. He thought he'd be America's favorite too. That's what happens when you live in an isolated bubble. In their rural, fundamentalist world, he was considered a catch. Imagine what the other guys in that community must have been like. Yikes. Both Kody and Robyn probably thought they'd be adored by America. They're still scratching their heads, confused and angry that it didn't go their way. They're completely out of touch. Remember the jewelry line? They were so proud of it, thinking it was high class. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But here's the kicker. Robyn's second marriage wasn't just about love. She entered it with a plan. Sure, everyone has their reasons for relationships. Some want love, some want companionship. Robyn? She was laser-focused on financial stability. There's no way she would have married a broke Kody Brown before the TLC deal came through. She probably saw herself as a phoenix, rising from the ashes of her first marriage, only to find the perfect new family to dedicate herself to. Too bad the camera doesn't have an Instagram filter to make her look like the victim she thinks she is. The truth started to show, and it wasn't pretty. The family dynamic shifted, and people caught on quickly. Robyn's the perfect example of someone so isolated from reality that she has no clue how she comes across to normal people. Outside her keep sweet bubble, she's completely unaware. And when she realizes people don't like her, she plays the victim and blames everyone else. That's why she's not on social media. She can't handle the truth. At home, everyone plays along with her fantasy of being the misunderstood Marta. In reality, she might just be one of the most hated people in reality TV history. Yet there she is, still spewing lies and nonsense, completely oblivious to how much people can't stand her. Where to start with Gwen's latest antics? First off, throwing Christine under the bus. Low. Seriously low. She bailed on her mom's wedding, and while I can't say for sure, it feels like she used her studies as a convenient excuse, but I'm not buying it. Why couldn't she study on the plane, at the airport, or even leave the wedding early? No one's buying that schooling excuse. Then there's the little gem of a dig she took at Christine, trying to tarnish her reputation. Really? That's beyond petty. It's almost like she made it her personal mission to run Christine over, especially since what she said wasn't even part of the show. Now, I'm not saying Christine is a saint. If she really told Gwen something as awful as, "Sorry your dad didn't love you," that's messed up. No parent is perfect. I've messed up plenty of times myself, but let's not pretend Kody's any better. That guy's been a walking red flag for years. We've all seen it. But here's the thing. I don't get why Gwen's acting like Christine's been a terrible mom to her. I mean, Gwen recently posted about how Christine sent her food after she skipped the wedding, showing that her mom wasn't holding a grudge. How do you go from that to publicly throwing your mom under the bus? It feels like a low blow, and to be honest, it doesn't sit right with me. Let's not forget that Christine paid for Gwen's breast reduction surgery. Back then, Gwen was all praise for her mom. Now though, maybe the gravy train's dried up, and suddenly, it's time to get revenge. I don't know, but I can't help but dislike Gwen more in this situation. And let's be clear, I'm not some Christine superfan. She's got her flaws, like moving her kids all over the place for Kody. But honestly, she doesn't seem like the terrible person Gwen's making her out to be. If she were, would the whole family be flocking to her? Gwen's actions are straight up disloyal. She's got an issue with her mom, sure, but instead of dealing with it privately, she's airing dirty laundry for the world to see. That's not just a disagreement. That's crossing a line and trying to drag Christine's name through the mud. It's a terrible look for Gwen, and I don't know how she can't see that. And seriously, can someone catch me up here? What exactly did Gwen say about Christine now? We know how things get twisted in this family, or any family, really. What was said is not always what was meant, and with these two, that's been a pattern. Maybe it was something like, "You don't feel loved by your dad," which Christine already clarified. She's told Gwen many times that Kody loves her, but it's not Christine's job to prove it. Still, Christine's not exactly the picture of maturity either. So, something was said, something was misunderstood, and once again, instead of clearing the air, it's just more drama. And let's talk about the logistics of Gwen's travel situation for a second. Flagstaff to Moab, not exactly a simple flight. It's a long drive, especially if you can't get flights to work. Flagstaff's airport barely connects to Phoenix and Dallas. Moab, you're looking at Denver or Salt Lake. Not exactly convenient. Add in the fact that Gwen's taking a full course load, including organic chemistry. Yeah, that's rough. I've got a daughter who's pre-med, and she'll tell you, organic chemistry is a nightmare. She's had to retake it twice, and every doctor she's talked to says it was the toughest class they had to get through. So yeah, I get Gwen prioritizing school, especially that class. Christine didn't seem mad about it either. So why are people who don't even know them so upset about it? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.